we got another crazy good fight between strikers. I mean, this card, 10 fights of quality. Modestas Bukauskas and Michał Oleksiejczuk, they're going to absolutely throw. When you look at their highlights, I mean, Bukauskas, both of these guys lost to Jimmy Crute, right? So that's the big thing for me. When you look at the way they got finished, both in different ways, right? I think that Bukauskas had a lot better success when it came to avoiding the takedown. He was able to use the fence. He was able to stay on his feet, but I mean, it didn't help in the long run. He ended up getting KO'd. But when you look on the flip side, I think Michał actually had a much larger issue with trying to get back to his feet and even find any type of distance where he can kind of let off some of his shots, because, Jimmy Crute is just a guy who's going to push forward. He's going to hound. He's going to time the takedown, but he's also got the technical striking and power to kind of put you out. So those two fights were where Jimmy Crute kind of showed off his skill, both striking wise and jiu-jitsu wise, and he came away with big wins. So when you look at that, both of these guys coming off of big losses against a big prospect in the UFC who's, definitely seeing ranked opponents now, I think that there's a lot of success to talk about as well. The one thing about Michał that I don't really like is, he had the layoff because of the, positive drug test. But look at his overall fight record. I mean, he's fought some pretty good guys. When you look at the Jimmy Crutes and the Ove St. Preux, I really like to see that from him. I think that both these guys are in a good place to at least come away with a good opportunity if they can get the big win. I think that, when you look at Bukauskas, he's shown some good striking ability, right? A lot of good lateral movement. He's going to try to pick you apart. I think what's funny is in his debut, I really enjoyed this fight. I've brought it up before, but the fall, right? For Michailidis kind of at the end of the round was taking those elbows. He just kind of picked the worst spot possible on the planet right there and fell through the octagon door. Like, I've never seen that before, but obviously the ref's going to call that fight. You look like you're out on your pants, literally falling out of the cage. So, I mean, that was an easy win to kind of throw Bukauskas' way, but then you go into the Jimmy Crute fight. So now he's sitting at 1-1 in the UFC. Whereas, we go over to the 14-4 Michał Oleksiejczuk, but at just 26 years old, Ove St. Preux, Jimmy Crute being your only two losses, then you've got wins over Gian Vellante and Gadzimir Vantuglov, both by finish within the first round. Mind you, obviously not exactly what you want to talk about when it comes to, the big wins. Some of these guys are a bit slower, they're a bit older. So in terms of his skill, his striking was there. It was really nice to watch. But let's go further back. The Khalil Rountree fight, a little bit closer fight. He ends the fight really well on top. But again, no contest for the failed drug test. So that's where, unfortunately, the 2-2 and 1 with the no contest, it's a great record for a guy who's just 26 years old. He got his debut against Khalil Rountree at 22. So the way I see it is, this guy had to take a year off, but if you're just training for that year at 23, you're coming back pretty strong and go 2-0 in the UFC before falling to Ove St. Preux and Jimmy Crute at 25, 26 years old. I mean, you could do a lot worse as an MMA fighter. So I think going into this fight, when you consider just the experience overall, it's kind of an interesting matchup, right? When I look at the opening odds, Oleksiejczuk was coming in at -167, Bukauskas at +139, and now you can actually get them both at +140 for Bukauskas and -170 for Oleksiejczuk. So when you look at it, not crazy movement at all, right? Like, this is pretty much considered a close fight. I think that there might be a chance that Bukauskas can really use his kickboxing, right? I think that obviously we know that the chin is now questionable. So anytime someone gets knocked out, you can kind of tell that there's a knock in the, I guess, trust and faith in them to be able to pull something off, because now a guy who might not be as technical but can kind of throw a little wildly and still find his way to the chin. I think Oleksiejczuk is like surprisingly accurate as a striker, and that's where I'm really excited to see what these guys can do, because, I mean, if you're a betting man, the under looks kind of, nice here with the amount of action these guys are going to throw for 3 straight rounds. I mean, funny looking chins, who knows? I think the way even Oleksiejczuk took the fight to the ground against Khalil Rountree, if he's able to do that fairly early against a guy who might not be able to get to his feet, despite the really good takedown defense on Bukauskas' side from what we've seen, I mean, that's another way for him to kind of take this fight. So I'm excited. I think that these guys are probably going to finish inside the distance. So take a look at that if you're interested. But at the end of the day, amazing fight. Second fight on the card, 8 more to go. Let's keep going because I'm pumped. I hope you are too. Let's roll.